Great. Thank you very much, members of the public who are gathered here and also watching online. I'm here tonight to present to you the progress of our GIC team, the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing. Before I get started, I want to recognize our GIC team. Many of those members are here today. If I could just get you to raise your hand so we could show our presence here. I also want to give a very, very big thank you and a huge sense of gratitude to Ms. Lisa James for putting together this fabulous presentation. So what I've handed out to you, Council, is a one-pager, front and back, that gives kind of the fact sheets about the GIC program and what we as a team are doing. There is also a roster of all of our GIC team members. Those are the two documents that I handed out. All right, great. The Georgia Initiative for Community Housing. As this first slide shows us, this is really a partnership. Thank you, Charlie, we'll advance, with UGA, DCA, and GMA, so a couple of big acronyms there, but the Department of Community Affairs, the Georgia Municipal Association, and the University of Georgia. This is a 3-year technical assistance program. So you may remember that we had to submit an application. It was a very competitive process to get into this 3-year technical assistance program. And we are now at the end of our 2nd year. So I also want to thank Council for your continued support, particularly within our travel budget that enables our GIC team members to travel to 2 retreats a year. The most recent one, this year's fall retreat, was in Savannah. And these meetings are really fabulous because they provide us with the team with a whole set of expertise and resources at these conferences where we can go and we can learn about affordable housing, workforce housing. We hear this term a lot. Tonight you may hear me talk about them interchangeably, but really what I want to impress is this is just an effort so that we can ensure that all St. Mary's residents have a stable place to live. All right? Yes, and as I wanted to say there at that last bullet point, our team has representatives from the development community, the real estate community, city staff, residents, faith-based organizations, and many other locations. All right, if you could advance, Charlie. Here's the most important slide that I want to show tonight. So as you're seeing in this graphic, when we talk about something like the housing continuum, this is really thinking about everything from an emergency shelter all the way up to homeowners.
Just a gentle reminder, there's no smoking in the bathrooms.
I knew it was maybe a hot topic, right? Anyways, thank you. Back to the housing continuum. So I think you get the idea, right, is that throughout our stages of life, whether you're upcoming professional and you need to room in an apartment with a couple of roommates, or you've made it and you've built your dream home and now you're benefiting from home ownership, and if you're down on your luck or in a state of crisis and you need emergency housing and shelter. So the idea that we're learning in GIC, and we can say this after being in the program for 2 years, is really that this is a continuum. There are needs throughout our lives. There are diversity of housing needs in our community, and this team and this program is committed to trying to diversify our housing stock and our housing portfolio to be able to accommodate all of these needs. If you could advance for me, Charlie. Okay, a couple of numbers here about the housing market and the reality here in St. Mary's. So in my office, in the development office, a starter home is now coming in at $350,000, starter home price. I don't know about many of you, but I don't think your first home was $350,000. So it's a pretty high bar that is being set to try to attain that. Median home prices in the city of St. Mary's are in the 300s. Where it gets challenging is that and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but our area median income or our median household income, many of our residents are paying more than 30% of their income for their housing. And that's kind of a stat that we refer to as being house burdened or housing burdened. So really we're trying to address some of our housing cost burdens, and the plan that we're creating through the GIC team and through our efforts is try to ensure that we have a diversity of housing options so that individuals or families are not as housing burdened. One more click, Charlie. Thank you. Here are a few more graphics. We hear these terms about median income, area median income. Area median income is basically half of the population makes less, half of the population makes more. In St. Mary's and in our region, it's about $68,000 is the area median income. And so many of the affordable housing or attainable housing or workforce housing efforts that we embark on will be income eligible. So if you're making a certain income, you can qualify for that housing. Where affordable housing, attainable housing, whatever you want to call it, gets a little bit more complicated is that if you look at our socioeconomics, there may be, in our housing market, there may be individuals who are making much more than the area median income, over 100%, but they're buying down in the market. So they're taking up the homes that are coming to the market because there isn't an availability of a diversity of housing. So we did a housing study with the base through the JLUS process a couple of years ago, and that was one of the main things that we saw, is that there is downward pressure on our housing market where those with more economic means are actually purchasing the homes for individuals of a lower socioeconomic status. So the importance of the diversity of housing is there. Another interesting thing we've seen is this gap between demand and supply. So the Department of Community Affairs, which is a state agency, has done some really excellent housing analysis work, and I'm happy to share that with anybody. But what we see in Camden County is that there is a deficit of about 10,000 rental units, and there is a deficit of about 8,000 single-family units. So we're not creating enough housing to keep up with the demand. So again, that supply and demand becomes a challenge. And what we want to try to do is diversify our housing portfolio and really create units that are more affordable or attainable. If you could advance, Charlie. Great. So some of the things that our GIC team speaks about is this idea of the missing middle. We've all seen multifamily housing, right? What we would refer to as apartment complexes. And we all know the single-family unit. Actually, in the city of St. Mary's, we have right now approximately about 8,000 units of housing, and by and large, the majority of them are single-family units. We are building a bit more of the multifamily, but what we're really interested in is kind of adding with these creative mixes. Maybe it's a duplex, maybe it's a smaller, we hear the term tiny home if you're a senior who's looking to downsize. Maybe it's a two-story home that on the outside looks like single family but may have 4 apartments in it. A lot of really creative ways that we can begin to diversify our housing stock. And why is the missing middle important? It's crucial for our workforce and workforce retention. We just heard from these 2 brilliant ladies about how they want to increase employment opportunities, particularly seasonal employment, and we need housing for folks that need to do that. And it enables upward mobility. So like we had said earlier, if you're just starting out in your career, you may be renting an apartment and you want to have the opportunity to advance in your housing attainment within your community. So you want to be able to get started and you want to be able to build your dream home. And this approach addresses the needs of a diverse mix of household sizes and income levels. Great. So how do we do that? So some of the strategies that we talk about in the GIC team or the GIC program are, we can look at our zoning and we can look at our ordinances. This is one area that the City of St. Mary's is actually quite flexible in. So I think that we have enough flexible zoning and ordinance tools that we could create a diversity of housing, whether it's small lots, multifamilies, or accessory dwelling units. An area that we really need to work a little bit harder on, and this will be in our housing plan moving forward, is rehabilitation. We have a lot of existing housing stock which is in very poor quality. Sometimes it's rental or sometimes it's owned. So, we talk about this a little bit from our blight tax perspective. We don't want to go after poor quality housing in that way. We want to be able to come in with some rehabilitation dollars to make it quality housing. So that's an area that we can look into grant programs like CHIP. And then new development. We can utilize something called the LIHTC, or Low Income Housing Tax Credit. And if you advance the slide. Thank you. So this is really where GIC has been a major win for us. On the bottom of the second side of your GIC fact sheet, you'll see that in our 2 years within the GIC program, because we have this ability to offer two highly competitive points for a developer who is seeking these tax credits, we can offer 2 bonus points. And that has resulted in the approvals of 208 units of LIHTC-supported housing in the city of St. Mary's. And that equates to about $50 million of investment in our community for affordable housing. And so these 2 points, they're really a great way for us as a team to get together and say, this is the type of housing we want to see. We want to see a diversity again. Right now, we've approved developments that are multifamily in nature, but we're seeking opportunities to do single-family home ownership, to do maybe duplexes, to do some transitional housing for those who need emergency shelter and want to get into a space that is more theirs and more private. So lots of opportunities through the LIHTC program. Could advance. Thanks, Charlie. Here's a little quick primer on how it works. Basically, the federal government will grant tax credits. These go to a state agency, which is the DCA, the Department of Community Affairs, and then they're put out through a competitive process to developers. And you'll see in this financing blurb, the developers utilize those tax credits to provide upfront equity and buy down their debt. And then in doing so, they can bring the units to market for 50 to 60% of that area median income that I spoke about earlier. So you have to be income eligible to get into these units, and that subsidy will reside there for 30 or more years. Next slide, please. This is an ongoing commitment. So the program is 3 years long, but I think we have a really robust housing team. We're committed to meeting. We meet once a month in the Main Street office. It is open to the public. Joining our group is open to anyone who is interested in affordable housing. So we welcome you to come and join us and get involved in this. And if you want any information about how to do that, please reach out to my office. So we can continue to work on it. And the outcome is that we actually create in our senior year or our junior year, which is our last year of the program, we're going to endeavor to create a housing plan to try to get at some of those grant opportunities to really focus on the diversity of housing and a housing continuum for the city of St. Mary's. And the end result is to ensure that there is affordable housing, high quality options for all of our residents. And this just offers a little summary for those assembled here. Again, I want to give a really heartfelt thanks to our GIC team and Charlie. Charlie has been instrumental in helping us push this forward. And also to you as council. Your continued support to this team for us to be able to go to these retreats is really instrumental for helping us all learn. There's a lot of complexities to affordable housing and understanding how we can navigate that. And also just to have your support as we may move forward for other ventures. Perhaps we could consider a workforce housing initiative in which the city would have to contribute some funds to be matched by a developer, and then we can bring single-family home ownership to market for $190,000 rather than $350,000. So with that, I want to say thank you to the team that's assembled here, and thank you to council. I can take any questions if you have them.
Any questions? Thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for all the hard work the committee's doing, and I think it's a good thing to have this committee, obviously. I know Ms. James was instrumental in helping to bring this here, and we appreciate that, and we look forward to more continued good work. Thank you. All right, we have some board announcements for term expirations. We have the Camden County Public Service Authority position there, Historic Preservation Commission, 2 positions there, the Hospital Authority, there are 2 positions there, the Oak Grove Cemetery Authority, we have one position there. The Planning Commission, we have two positions there, and the Tree Board, we have one position there. We also have a vacancy on our Tax Allocation District Number 3 Advisory Board. There's one seat there. And due to term expirations, we have still a position available on the Camden County Board of Education, Sex Educational Instructional Review Committee. And for our Camden County Joint Development Authority, we have a position. We have received two applications for that. And if there is a motion to.
I do apologize. The one that came in late, if you all were willing to accept it, it would be totally up to you.
Okay.
You had one and then one came in today.
Okay. So if there's a motion to proceed one way or another on those two applications? Or do we want to take some more time to be able to evaluate?
Right.
I offer motion that we accept both applications, and
Okay.
I'm ready to make a motion to accept John McNeil.
Okay. So we have, do we need to just take a vote, or you accept the,
You just
do
wrap
we
it in
accept the
one.
application into one? Okay,
Yeah,
so,
you have to do that.
all right, so do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, is there any other discussion? Okay.
Where do you have the applications? What tab?
In here, it's right behind the reports and authority.
I
Dan
got
Black, that's where I'm.
So,
There was your initial.
I got you. I got it.
All right, so we have a motion on, and a second on the table. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So we have 1, 2, and 3, is that right? All three voting for, or 2? Mr. Jones and Mr. Ingram? All those opposed?
And this is
Where
for
you going?
Mr.
This is for
McNeil.
Mr. McNeil.
Oh, wait,
No.
no, hang on.
The motion was for Mr. McNeil.
I thought we're just voting to accept it, and then we usually go through and just.
Both.
see
He
who's
would,
the
but he
first
made a
and second
motion to,
He made a motion for both,
inclusive.
a combined motion.
Okay,
so
let's-
I'm sorry.
name. Sorry, so,
do you want to start it over?
I want to start over. So you have a motion by Mr. Jones to accept the application and to nominate Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Okay, so is there a second? Okay, so for lack of a second, is there another motion?
I make a motion to nominate Dan Black.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second. I
Okay.
do apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I can get a motion to accept the board application?
yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion to accept John McNeil's application.
Oh, okay, okay.
is there a second to that?
Yes, second. I'll
Yes, so
second
we have a
that.
second by Ms. King. Any other discussion about that? All those in favor of accepting Mr. McNeil's application?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's unanimous accepted.
Yes,
Now we
sir.
take a vote.
Now we can take a vote if so, the council so desires. So is there a motion to nominate one of these two gentlemen to the JDA?
Are we just going down the
We're
line
just
with
gonna
who we're
vote.
voting for?
Or do we just go
We're
down
just
the
gonna vote.
line? We're just going to vote. Well, we have to vote. So,
John McNeil.
okay,
Dan Black.
Dan Black.
Dan Black,
okay. So that is 5-1, madam, for Mr. Black. And so, Ms. Black, welcome to the
We just need a motion to put him on.
a motion to accept this count of 5-1 and accept Mr.
Motion to
Mr.
approve
Black.
Dan Black on the JDA.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now you're welcome thank you for your application and welcome to the JDA. Okay. All right, the reports of authorities, we have the Downtown Development Authority Annual Report. Ms. Cheryl Carter and Ms. Camden Pullum are coming up.
The mayor, council,
Push the
Mic's not
button. The button needs to be green. Like, there.
Bingo.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Your Honorable Mayor, City Council, city leaders, thank you for this opportunity to present the annual report for the Downtown Development Authority, Main Street for 2025. As we look back on our achievements in 2025, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Candace Pullum, our Downtown Development Authority Main Street Manager, and Nicole Reeder, our Executive Assistant. Their dedication, knowledge, and expertise have been instrumental in advancing the Downtown Development Authority and Main Street program. Also, I would like to extend a special thanks to our DDA Main Street Board of Directors, Vice Chair Ingrid Gross, Treasurer Karen Preble, Secretary and our newest member Amanda Moore, Deb Cottle, Dan Black, Terry Landriff, Darren Harper, Liaison for the Joint Development Authority, and Jeremy Nascimento, our Liaison for City Council, for their time and commitment to our cause. Thank you. Dan, Terry. What is the Main Street Program? The Main Street Program is a community-driven, preservation-based approach to revitalizing downtown and neighborhood businesses districts. It is part of a nationally recognized initiative supported by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. What is the Downtown Development Authority, DDA? The DDA is a legally established body under Georgia law focused on economic development within a defined downtown district. It has powers to initiate real estate and financing efforts to spur growth and redevelopment. It was an honor as our Downtown Development Authority Main Street was presented the large Partnership of the Year Award at the Gavel to Gavel event in June hosted by the Camden County Chamber of Commerce. We deeply appreciate our partnership with the Chamber, our city leaders, all of our city boards, and Joint Development Authority, collaborating to enhance St. Mary's as a wonderful and beautiful place to live and visit is a true privilege. Our mission statement: we create a vibrant and welcoming downtown that celebrates our historic charm, supports local businesses, and connects our community. Our vision statement is a dynamic downtown economy rooted in history and powered by local enterprises where small businesses thrive, investment is welcome, and opportunities grow for all. Here are a few of our Main Street downtown development accomplishments for 2025. We participated in planning and decorating for the Mardi Gras events, co-hosted the annual Taste of Camden event held at Orange Hall with the Camden County Chamber of Commerce, hosted Ebony Simpson and Ellen Hill with the Department of Community Affairs in a 2-day retreat focused on strategic planning to assess our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Hosted Danny Bivens and his team with the Carl Vinson Institute of Government, UGA, and a steering committee for our rebranding of St. Mary's and the Midtown Renaissance Strategic Vision and Plan, otherwise known as the RSVP. The RSVP will assist an outdoor space plan for our new City Hall. Candace, Nicole, and I attended the 4-day annual Downtown Association Conference in August hosted by the City of Gainesville. We revamped our monthly events as a Live After 5 to include our businesses staying open late with food trucks and live entertainment. We issued several facade grants to enhance the improvements of downtown businesses, created a new Christmas image for St. Mary's featuring new lights and a fresh new look for our downtown. A special thank you to our mayor, our city council, city leaders, Candace, Nicole, Public Works, especially Tracy Rose and his team, and Hunter Wingard of Coastal Lighting, who dedicated hours to wrapping our magnificent trees with soft glow lighting. Our sincere appreciation goes to all of our volunteers. Some names to be mentioned are Mrs. Martha McGinn, who handmade every red velvet bow you see throughout the city. Ms. Teddy Lockhart, Mrs. Joyce Macbeth, Mrs. Deborah Lassiter, Ms. Carolyn Sailors, and Ms. Barbara Smith, who dedicated hours decorating our beautiful city. Our future. As a Downtown Development Authority Main Street, we will continue to implement strategic ideas to foster community growth. We aim to maintain and expand our partnerships in the following areas. Help develop an overall landscape design plan for downtown's public spaces. Participate in the revitalization of Orange Hall. Continue advancement of the RSVP for Midtown with the Carl Vinson Institute. Continue advancement of the Gateway Hotel project. Engage in the advancement and development of the Old Mill site. If there's anything else that DDA and Main Street can assist you with, please do not hesitate to contact us. And at this time, I'd like to give the floor to Candace Pullen for some exciting news with some news and numbers. Thank you, Candace.
Thank you for the bullets,
Thank you.
Candace.
Thank you.
So she did go over our mission and vision statement, and that actually got redid this year when we had our strategic planning session with DCA. So that was super exciting. A couple of other things that came out of that was we realized that we wanted to engage more of our youth in our downtown and just overall events. So we have created a Junior Main Street Board, which we had the opportunity, we've had 3 meetings now, and we've had the opportunity to utilize them at a couple of our events, and it's been very, very successful because we've noticed in our pictures that we get taken and things like that, that their presence is there, and they're giving us a lot of feedback, really educating me on marketing for their age. So we're trying to reach out and figure out how we can engage them in that and collaborate in that manner. And they will have to attend a city council meeting as part of this board. And so if you see some young people, they could be ours. We have about 20 people, 20 youths in our community that really wanted to be a part of it. And for the most part, they all show up to our meetings. We're having to be a little strategic because they all have their own jobs, commitments with sports and things like that. So we're working around those barriers and trying to learn as much as we can. So next year when we do this again, it's even stronger. And then we did launch Alive After 5. It was really kind of just a rebranding of First Friday. Those were extremely successful prior to COVID, and they just really fell off. So we tried to be again, strategic with the dates we picked. We were very cautious of what the high school calendar would say, if it was a football game or a sports activity, to try and make sure that we were picking dates that didn't conflict with other things in our community, because that seems to be a real issue sometimes, and it is a lot of work and a lot of effort, specifically on mine and Nicole's part, for just a few people to show up. So when we've done some of the numbers, we've done it now for May was our 6th, maybe it was our 7th month. I honestly can't remember. They all run together. But our largest attended event was our October event, and we had about 3,200 people. And then our smallest attended event was the December event, which got rained out within the first hour, and we still had 2,000 people at that event. So it is one of those things that people look forward to it. Now, we get messages all the time. When is it going to be? How can I participate? I think that it's also showing our community that food trucks really don't hinder our businesses downtown, and if anything, it's showing that we could really sustain some more restaurants in our community, and I hope that some of that trickles over and some of these people invest in that manner in some brick and mortars. So another really amazing thing is that we welcome 24 new businesses to our downtown boundaries, and something a little different than for us is our office does business license for the entire city, but the Downtown Development Authority is dictated by boundaries which are submitted to DCA, and they tell us what, I guess it was probably almost 20 years ago those boundaries were submitted. But it goes from the waterfront over to about where the old 401 West building was, all the way up to Burrell Creek, the bridge there. So it includes Aldi. It doesn't include a lot of the offshoots, so there are some commercial pockets that we could maybe possibly, bring in. One of the things that we did this year with some of our investment is because of the Midtown RSVP, we decided that we would approve a facade grant for a business or shopping center that technically wasn't in our downtown development boundaries. And it had some vacancies, and now it is fully occupied. So it's one of those things that we're trying to take some steps that aren't necessarily the norm for our community to really show them that we're invested in them, and in turn they're becoming invested in us. So super excited about that. With those 24 new businesses in our downtown boundaries, we estimate that it creates around 100 new jobs for our economy. So that's seasonal, part-time, full-time, and we're also kind of tying our Junior Main Street Board back into that, because we often, myself primarily, I get texts from, some of these small businesses that there'll be a staff person short, or they're going to be out for a couple days. So can I help them find somebody? Do I know anybody? And the Junior Main Street Board is helping with that, because then they can fill some of those employment gaps. It's giving them an opportunity to really, see what it's like to be an entrepreneur, some of the struggles. It's not always pretty. So, and then it's also giving them an opportunity to see how city government works from a different side, because before I worked for the City of St. Mary's, I didn't really understand what municipal government really operated like. I had worked for the state prior, but that's completely different. So I think that if we can teach them young how these decisions are made and how impactful they can be, it'll really drive that positive message home. And then you also see here that the Downtown Development Authority has invested over $100,000 this calendar year in beautification projects, marketing, those downtown events, those sort of things. So all of these events, all of these lights, the planters in front of the pavilion, they all cost money, and we're trying to be very strategic about how we just come up with the money. Thankfully, our city council does give us a portion of money in our budget, but, we always need more, so please buy a Small Towner t-shirt or a Main Street cup. And then, we've gotten some really great sponsorships for the first time ever in our community, where people are just really wanting to give back to us, and we're super excited about that. We have been working with UGA, Carl Vinson Institute of Government, to develop a cohesive brand statement and logo, and we hope to be able to announce that to the public at our next town hall, because we are in that final stage on what the brand statement will be and what our logo and branding for that will be. And it's really just to create some consistency across the board for the city. It will not do away with our seal. It will just give us an upper echelon of branding for, future developers, and to be a little more competitive in that market. Ms. Cheryl did mention that we are working on our Midtown RSVP, which is super exciting, because a lot of our feedback is we need that investment in Midtown, and I do feel like it's coming. We're getting so many business owners coming in wanting to open spaces there. We get questions a lot, and thankfully when they are opening spaces there, they're choosing to invest back into those properties. So might be little ticks off the mark, but little investment, can spur big investment. So we're super, super excited about that. Obviously, we could not do any of this without our partnerships in the community. Angela and her board and tourism, they are so, so helpful to us. There's really not much that we don't tick off of each other or try to help each other out with, because our departments work hand in hand. The Camden County Chamber of Commerce, again, another one of our huge supporters. Couldn't do it without her either, and that board and that community of people. And then another big thing to point out is that our staff and board members completed over 300 hours of combined training this year. So authorities are required to do 2 hours per member of training every calendar year. So if you look at our board, that's not a lot of time, and they committed to over 300 hours. So that's a really, really huge investment on our part, investment on their time. Some of those were, webinars and things like that, but everything that they go to, they come back with another idea, and we're able to see how we can make that work in our community. And then our 2026 goals are to become a Georgia Exceptional Main Street City. And that's where it's going to take, a whole collaboration from our community, because we need to do some more investment in some of our beautification and really, nail down on development and things like that. But, we would love to be a Georgia Exceptional Main Street City, and whenever DCA comes, they get so excited because everyone loves St. Mary's, and to see what this board and this, the Main Street was like when I got here 4 years ago, and for them to see what it is now, they're just so beyond excited and impressed with how we've moved along. So I don't have anything else. Anybody got any questions for me?
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like I say, certainly can very evident around town the difference y'all are making, and we certainly appreciate the efforts of all your board members and your efforts as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next report is from the St. Mary's Intercoastal Gateway Marina Annual Report. Mr. Terry Landry.
Can I move this just a little bit? Good. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Merry Christmas. And
Christmas.
believe it or not, my report is actually an extension of the DDA, because I sit on the board because of the DDA, and one of the 4 pillars of the Downtown Development Authority is economic development. So the Gateway Project is an economic development project that we've been working on for several years. There's many folks involved, but number one, our committee is made up of downtown development, tourism, historic preservation, some citizens of the group here also. And the Gateway Committee has other partners outside. So we have the Haskell Group, which is our design build engineering firm. We also have the Gopi is development firm here, and Sugar and CB are here with me tonight. But this is an annual report of what the committee's done. So I just want to make sure that we can't report on what Haskell has done until they give us a report. We can't report on the developer what they have done. We're going to report on what the committee has done. So the committee's been engaged this year with several different meetings, been engaged with Haskell, been engaged with Gopi, but the number one thing that we did this year, we did site visits. We did site visits and engaged with other communities that had city properties that have been redeveloped into economic development properties. One's up in Gainesville, Georgia. One I actually visited down in Flagler County. Another one, though, that's been a great partnership with is Thomasville, Georgia. Thomasville, Georgia had a very similar property. It's amazing how it was just a mirror image of what we've been trying to do. It had been on the rolls for many, many years, had been sitting idle, found a developer, local developer, went into a hotel, hospitality type endeavor with it, and now it is a thriving business also. So it's taken some time. And Thomasville, Georgia, they told me, they said, it was referred to as the hot potato. And so they wanted to get that hot potato to somebody else. So that's why DDA is involved in it. That's why we have been working hard with this. But I will report to you on this. The Gateway Committee is the partnership we have with the Gopi and Development, completely transparent. They have been upfront with everything we wanted from them. We then moved from a site visit into developers agreement workshops. We do not have a developers agreement yet, but we are moving in that direction with a developer agreement that is very strong for the protection of the city, the protection of the developer, protection and the future of this project, which is going to be a legacy project for downtown also. The Haskell did report for us on an archaeological dig that was done. That was a big holdup. It was done back in the fall of 2025. We're expecting the report in January, late January 2026, and then that'll trigger some other next development things. The next thing for the committee will be to establish that developers agreement that puts certain triggers in place for this development to go forward. That's all I have. Any questions? Short and sweet.
Thank you.
Okay, Merry Christmas again.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't step away without saying, the reason I'm standing up here tonight also because of Jim Gant. Jim Gant was the leader in this project for many years, so keep him in your thoughts and prayers this year.
Thank you. That's certainly true. Okay, our next report is from the Tree Board Annual Report, and we have Christine Adamo.
Good evening, citizens, neighbors, mayor, council, management, staff. This is the tree board. The last report we gave was in April of last year. So this report is for the period July 2024 through July 2025. The 5-member tree board of the City of St. Mary's consistently met monthly during 2024. Due to the term expirations of 3 of the 5 members and the election of 1 of the members to council, the tree board had 4 positions turn over in December of last year. New members starting this year include Andrew Gross, Julia McCullough, Jody Nelson, our new chair, who, by the way, is also an ISA certified arborist and lives downtown here in the Historic District, and Gary Vollmer. In November of '24, several citizens with an interest in the city's urban forestry program began to come to the board meetings. In January, the new board raised questions regarding how these non-board attendees could continue to contribute without amending the charter of the tree board. A decision was made to encourage these advisors to continue to attend and voice their interest and concerns. However, over the course of onboarding the new board members, these non-voting advisors each made the independent decision that their time commitments limited their availability, and each of them stopped attending. For the short period where these 3 advisors attended, the board benefited a great deal from their input, resources, and thought process. Expanding the 5-member board to a 7-member board was considered. While revising the vegetation ordinance, accommodation to increase the number of board members to 7 was made. This revision of the vegetation ordinance, which, by the way, is the framework for the tree board in the city, now opens the opportunity for the board to increase its membership to 7. So you may this year or early next year find that the board will be asking for accommodation of additional members. The tree board ended '24 with completion of the Captain Lemuel Johnson Memorial Park project, which garnered 2 awards. The state award, the Georgia Forestry Commission for the Urban Beautification. That's very competitive. The city rose above all other cities that were tree cities in the state of Georgia to get that award. And it was presented at the State of Georgia's GFC, that's the Georgia Forestry Commission's meeting in the fall of last year. The City of St. Mary's Garden Club also honored the tree board for its restoration and improving the park. What's most exciting from the tree board's point of view, that in the fall of last year, the tree board transitioned the entire maintenance of this small park back to the city's Department of Public Works, which, by the way, has been remarkable in providing care and maintenance of all the new plantings, vegetation, and upkeep. Thank you, Department of Public Works. Now, there are a couple of grants that we've reported on in the past, and I want to give you an update as the annual report. TAG 1, that's Trees Across Georgia. As you might remember, in '24, we had applied, so we were awarded after the report was given last year, $43,000. That money went to underwrite the removal and replacement of 22 trees in the city's Peace Park. Under supervision of the Department of Public Works, those trees were planted, and 100% survival, which, by the way, is remarkable. That's a big job. They handled it well. It took all day and quite a few of hands on deck. Both tree board members, volunteers, but the Department of Public Works did the heavy lifting. Thank you again, Department of Public Works. TAG 2, which is a follow-on funding for TAG 1, the city was awarded $350,000 in October of 2024. These funds are spread over 3 years and are to cover the costs of an arborist, removal of 50 dead trees and dead or diseased trees, and plant and care for 35 to 40 new trees in each of these 3 years. So that adds up to about 120 new trees over the course of 3 years, 100% funded. That began in this year, and those plantings and removals will end in 2027. Funding to create a new staff position for a full-time arborist was reduced to a part-time contract position, pending full approval for adding this position to the city's professional staff. Due to a stop work order issued in Q1 of this year, removal and planting of these trees was moved from the spring. As you realize, we have 2 planting seasons, spring and fall. The grant required us to plant in the spring, but the federal government had a stop work order. The money didn't flow, and we were told to stop. So those trees in that program of work fell to the fall, which put a heavy workload on the Department of Public Works and the contractors. However, you'll find a lot of new trees that have been planted quite around the city to accommodate what couldn't be done in the spring because of that stop work order. Now, the follow-on money for TAG 3. Unfortunately, the city did not receive follow-on funding for the requested amount of $500,000 over the next 3 years. During the TAG 3 process, I think this report needs to include the 2 reasons why TAG 3 was denied to the city of St. Mary's. As you see, TAG 1 was like dip our toe in the water, see if the city can handle it, and we got $43,000. TAG 2, you did it. Here's $350,000 over the next 3 years. TAG 3, unfortunately, we didn't score anything. And here are the 2 reasons as stated in the letter that was sent to the city manager this past fall. The committee expressed concern, that's the review committee, expressed concern that the proposed project would be difficult to implement without a full-time arborist to oversee and guide the work. Note, we had money for a full-time arborist. It didn't get approved and we didn't hire. That was reduced to a contract position. Based on the most recent progress report for the current TAG grant, this position has yet to be filled, which will likely hinder proposed activities taking place within the funding timeline. The second concern, second of 2, concerns were also noted regarding the current TAG grant, including limited spending to date and incomplete reporting. And as I indicated, we had to stop work orders, so our spend down was also slow. That wasn't our fault. And we have made note to the funding source that, in fact, it was their stop work order that pushed our spending pattern back. Nevertheless, they claim that was an issue. Because Inflation Reduction Act funds have strict deadlines, the lack of expenditures this year raises concerns about St. Mary's ability for timely completion of a new, larger project. We will follow up separately to address items missing from the most recent report. This leaves the city an opportunity for growth from the tree board's viewpoint. It is a slow, painful climb back into graces with the funding source. But I think with what we've seen happen this fall and what we've witnessed as coming together as a community of volunteers with a strong impact from Department of Public Works, the funding source should, and I'm going to say that pejoratively, should see that we're serious, that we know what we can do, and we're doing it. Although our grant requested funding to underwrite full assessment of 2 legacy trees, and those are the 2 trees that had been consistently being motored no money was awarded to undertake that type of work. The city, however, was encouraged to seek alternative sources of funding to evaluate the full health risk of these two legacy trees and the development of a tree maintenance and care plan. In other words, the city has other sources of money that it can apply for, that the Georgia Forestry Commission will make available through other pockets of money to help protect and preserve those two trees, which I know the entire community values deeply and is very concerned about. So that's part of the agenda for the next couple of years with the new tree board. The Relief Grant, which is our second grant, was awarded $14,000 in Q4 of last year to plant trees in the public spaces around the Consolidated Housing Project. I hope you saw them. They look fantastic. They're growing well. Planting of these trees was pushed again to the fall instead of the spring, and they're doing very well. In February of 2025, Mr. Tage McMahon began to revise the vegetation ordinance. He collaborated with the tree board and routinely met with members to solicit input, review copy, and provide additional information needed for timely rewrite. His untimely and sudden departure from the city has set this revision adoption behind the projected timeline for approval, which was set for late Q2 of 2025. The monthly column in the Tribune continues. The tree board members published 8 columns in the past year. These columns have generated interest from readers, as well as phone calls to the board regarding tree care, arborist, and program information. This monthly column will continue as part of the board's commitment to urban forest education within the community. Just to summarize, the tree board applied for 2 grants. We received 0. That was $515,000 that we didn't access. We responded to 14 inquiries regarding hazards related to trees in public spaces. That's a 130% increase from the preceding year. 5 of these trees required assessment by a professional arborist. All trees deemed hazardous were felled within a week of discovery. So that's an indication, we believe, of more interest and more attention to citizens' trees in the public rights of way. We're getting a lot more calls than we had 3 years ago and even 2 years ago. We gave 220 volunteer hours, and GFC says that's $37.50 an hour, so it's about $8,250 worth of in-kind contribution. That number, however, is 66% less than the last time we reported. And I can't tell you why that is. Might be because we have a new board and we're just getting our feet wet, and onboarding 4 new members of a 5-member board is a lot of work. The tree board, however, is in the planning process to develop the new plan for the coming year's program. We welcome applications for the board membership for the 1 position, which ends this year, as well as suggestions for any other areas related to our urban canopy that the city, that you, that residents, staff, management would like to see the tree board tackle. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right. Just want to thank everybody. I'm stepping down as chair, and I'm stepping off the board. And it's been my pleasure to put a little spice into the tree board, and I thank everybody for their help and cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service these past 3 years, Ms. Adamo, and the funds you've helped bring in the city and the trees that have been planted as a result of that. And hopefully the new board will continue in your footsteps. Thank you.
That was a good one.
Okay, we have a report of our city manager next.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, citizens. I'm going to try and cut a little bit of it short, so please excuse me if I get a coughing spell as well. If Council will remember last week we received an email from one of our citizens concerning traffic on Dilworth. Just as an update, the chief authorized, that would be the police chief, authorized overtime for officers to work this past weekend, and they conducted traffic enforcement on Dilworth Saturday and Sunday. And that was for a total of 32 hours.
16 hours both days.
They worked from 8 a.m. until midnight both days. They issued 32 citations. 8 of them were for speeding and with 1 DUI. The rest were other miscellaneous violations. Today we had shifting gears, today we had a water break on Jocelyn's Way. There's been a boil water alert for those homes in that area. It is isolated to that area. Folks in that area can go to the website and get instructions, but basically it's boiling water for 1 minute on a hard boil prior to using it for eating, drinking, brushing your teeth, what have you. The disinfection has occurred. They've done that process, so now what's left is the testing, and I believe that has also gone out. The testing has gone out, so we're looking at about 48 hours before we get results back on that, before that can be lifted. The city of St. Mary's will make that be known. Crooked River Drainage Canal, I know we talked about it last time. The box culvert at Winding Road, the erosion issues there have been repaired. The roundabout, we should have some preliminary drawings sometime in the last part of January. Our LeMig, the 25 LeMig has been advertised for bids. The 25 supplemental is being prepared to send out for construction bids as well, with the 26 projects will be coming to you very shortly. We just had an update from Tree Board, so there's no need in me talking about the Tree Board, about their grants. St. Mary's Road clearing for power line installation. You may have seen some of that going on. It is clearing along the right-of-way of St. Mary's Road in order to install new power lines that will serve the new water plant and fire station on Stillwaters Road. Highway 40 sidewalk repairs. If you've noticed between the Aquatic Center coming back this way to the curve, they are in the process of replacing bad sidewalk along that way.
Good.
And
Excellent.
I'm gonna brag on, we have a gentleman, we have a crew there, and we have a supervisor that the backhoe that he was using has the pinchers, and it broke, the pressure line broke, and I have never seen someone as upset as that man was, because he had hit his groove and he wanted to finish. So we call him Roe, and he and his crew are doing unbelievable jobs. So kudos to that group. The hydraulic sewer model, we're still tracking for January the 5th. Christmas season, we've got Christmas lights everywhere. We've had Christmas in the Park, live nativity, tinsel trail, and other holiday events, and we've still got a couple more happening in the community. So our public works, fire and police, and everybody has really contributed to that and made them all huge successes. Update on the parks. The tennis courts are anticipated to start in the first couple of weeks of January. Public Works has conducted interviews with the applicants for the park supervisor and equipment operator positions, and they are moving through the process. Staff have been working on action items and gathering resources for January 2nd of taking over the parks. Some of the action items include repair to the basketball hoops and backboards at our parks, covers over dugouts and concrete in 2 of the dugouts on Margaret Street fields, roof replacements on the pavilions on Margaret and Civic Park, repairs to the lights and scoreboard on the football field on Margaret Street, repairs to the ramp, one of the ramps on the skate park, and we're getting the infields evaluated to determine next steps and to include the entire field being shot, laser shot, or however to determine the adjustments to a grading. making sure we don't have any holes. We're also working on getting pricing on irrigation. As a sidebar for the public especially, we also have had some vandalism in the restrooms on Margaret Street bathrooms in the park occurring December 11th or 12th in the evening hours. Anyone having any knowledge of the event are encouraged to contact St. Mary's Police Department. The holiday trash schedule. Due to county landfill schedule during the week of December 22nd and 29th, please be aware the trash collection schedule for the city of St. Mary's will be affected. The county landfill will be closed Christmas Day and New Year's Day and will operate with shortened hours on December 24th and December 26th and December 31st. The St. Mary's is working closely with Cumberland Services to ensure our residents receive timely trash collection. However, some residents may experience delays beyond our control. The St. Mary's trash collection schedule. Wednesday routes, December 24th. Please have your trash at the curb by 6 a.m. Thursday, December 25th, there will be no collection. Thursday routes will be collected on Friday, December 26th. Friday routes will be collected on December 27th. Wednesday routes, December 31st. Please have your trash at the curb by 6 a.m. And then Thursday, there will be no collection, and then the Thursday routes will be collected on Friday, and the Friday routes will be collected on Saturday. So just to make everybody aware, we want to take this minute, one, to wish council a very Merry Christmas, and to the citizens of St. Mary's, Merry Christmas, and please have a safe, Happy New Year.
Mr. Horton,
Santa Claus ain't gonna be picking the trash up. Go ahead.
well, I was naughty according to Mr. White, so I don't care. On exit 1.
Yes, sir.
You know, we talked about a couple of years ago about roundabouts there. Where is that?
That was one of the things that was being evaluated for those intersections, and we're not to that point as of yet.
Okay, so there's no movement or anything?
As far as a roundabout goes, no, sir. Not as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
Because they'll have to go through all the warrant studies and everything that are associated with that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Horton.
Yes, ma'am.
Quick update on Yoa Place. I know we had gotten the easements for that a while back.
That's the one we're trying to get somebody to cut, Bobby. That Yoa Place, that's where we got the tree issue?
Yes, sir.
We've got some very, very large trees that are a part of that swell area where we're wanting to build a swell. And we're trying to find somebody that's willing to go on personal property to cut those big trees down. And we've run into some issues, but we're still working on it, and it's moving.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Wanted to know if there was any updates on the leaking manholes there on the north side of 40 across from Saturday Park there, where we had discovered some issues there several months
I
ago.
know we had, you're talking about like at Brant Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Brant Creek, and there's one further down. I think they both have been relined, is that correct? I know one of them has.
The leaks have been fixed, but still waiting on the lining company to come do their lining, but all the leaks have been fixed.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move to set our consent agenda. Under old business, item A, St. Mary's Aquatic Park Lazy River Attraction Renovation Proposal by Oatwell Aquatics and Budget Ordinance Amendment, fiscal year 2026 General and Aquatic Center Funds.
Consent.
Consent. Under new business, item A, Security Services Request for Proposals to Reject Recommendation.
Consent.
Consent? Yes. Item B, Resolution Parking Restriction.
Consent.
Item C, Rezoning Request for BFIP Warrington LLC Tax Parcel 135F010 from R1 single family to C2 highway, commercial, and community district.
Consent.
Item D, rezoning request for Maria Ahmad, tax parcel 135-107A from R5 Townhouse Dwelling District to MH Manufactured Housing District.
Consent.
Consent.
Item E, special use permit for Wheels Golf Carts to display golf carts for sale on tax parcel 135-031A for Ender Aslankinson Center. I'm sorry
Consent.
about that. Item F, final plat, minor subdivision request, Brian Flick on behalf of Radiant, creating a 4.29 acre parcel subdivided from parcel 121-009 commercial pod within Exit 1 Planned Development District.
Consent.
Item G, master service agreement for school zone cameras between Sensus Gatso USA Inc. and the City of St. Mary's.
Consent.
Item H, Winding Road Trail Project legal fees for right-of-way acquisition phase.
Consent.
Item I, Winding Road Trail Project legal fees for right-of-way acquisition phase.
Consent.
McQuigg. Okay.
Consent.
Item J, Robotic Sports Field Line Painter subscription for a Turf Tank 2 Pro.
Consent.
Item K, infield maintenance equipment purchase for a Toro Field Pro 6040 from Wesco Turf.
Consent.
Item L, Brom Wellbeing and Lifestyle LLC DBA, the Spencer House Inn alcohol license name change request.
Consent.
Consent. Oh, discuss.
Discuss?
Yeah.
Discuss.
Discuss.
Item M, Osprey Cove LLC DBA Golf Clubhouse alcohol license name change request.
Discuss.
Discuss. Item N, Osprey Cove LLC DBA Tiki alcohol license name change request.
Discuss.
All three of those go together.
Item O, was Cottle and Gun.
Is that off the table now? or-
Right, so we need we'll need a motion at some point, miss?
You can do it under approval of the agenda.
Okay. So we'll just skip that for now?
Oh,
Or do we need to say consent or discuss?
It's off.
It's
Okay.
off. Okay.
Item P, Horse and Cow LLC new alcohol license.
Consent.
Consent.
Item Q, alcohol and microbrewery renewals for the 2026 licenses.
Consent.
And item R, the first quarter town hall and development update meetings, so
Discuss.
we'll discuss that. Okay, so to review, at this point, it's easier to say everything's under the consent agenda other than items L, M, and M,
yeah.
R.
and R. So with that, we will now have our granting audience to the public. So if you would like to speak on any of the items on the agenda or something else, please come to the microphone, give us your name and your address, and please try to keep your comments to less than 5 minutes, please.
Tom, skinny Mike here. Tom O'Brien, I have a couple of bullets for you. The city of St. Mary's.
Your
is-
address. Need your address.
Sorry, 114 Cambray Circle.
Thank you.
The city of St. Mary's, the building that they bought there on that 16-acre parcel, which as we know is pretty poorly maintained. Who owns it doesn't really matter. But is the city at some point going to put something up behind your head that would basically legitimize that building and make it look like something? That would be number one. I'm not trying to be a wise guy, it's just stuff I've seen in the 4 years that I've been here. In conjunction with that, where is the city with regards to actually taking that dwelling over from the current dwelling here?
The property went out for bid. Talking about the new city hall building, is that what?
Yeah, in other words, to move everything that's here over there.
Yes.
Is that going to take place soon, or?
It's out for bid right now. It
Okey-doke.
closes on the 29th of January.
So the move will take place, probably next year? Okay, me too. Second bullet I have is, as I said, I've been here for 4 years. My car is getting destroyed. I don't know, when I lived in Fernandina Beach for 15 years, I used to come over here and hit all these railroad tracks, which I think are an abortion. I don't know how they've been in that condition, especially the one coming into the town. The first part of it is plated going out, the other stuff, the other part of it, it's goodbye front end. So that, in conjunction where I live, which is down in Crooked River, those three spots notably on Charlie Smith Highway, that's an abortion down there. Also St. Mary's Road, and also, actually all of them, but these three in particular. And also on Kings Bay Road, horrible. There are potholes on the other side of it. Now, I don't know whose responsibility that is, whether that's Public Works. I'm not here to be a wise guy. I don't see anything being done about it. I'm not going to pick apart what's been approved or what is about to be approved, but I think that would be I don't want to say it's a small thing because I don't know where the funding comes from. I don't know whether that would be a DOT problem, if they've ignored that situation for years, in part anyway, or whether that would come from the city of St. Mary's taxpayers to improve those locations. Those three particularly, but all of them, we don't want to get down Dilworth, they're all bad. Can you give me an answer as to who would fund that and if anything's going to be done?
I don't know if that would be
I
the
think
railroad.
the railroad is responsible for it.
Is that DOT?
No, so that's
No.
the railroad
Railroad.
company that owns the railroad lines there.
Is that St. Mary's Railroad?
I believe so.
Yeah, they do.
We'd have
Which have gone to Kingsland, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so they would be the ones that would be responsible for the condition of those tracks. I mean,
Right.
I'm not here to talk on behalf of everybody else, but like I said, my car is every, I don't know, couple of months, I lose a headlight, they're out, shocks, alignment. I mean, all these places around here fixing these cars, they got plenty of work to do.
We can certainly try to open a dialogue with them, let them.
That would be great. I don't want to make a habit of coming down here, but I would like to see something done in relation to what else is going on monetarily.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, would you please repeat your name for the city clerk?
John O'Brien.
This-
Thank you.
We're good?
Mhm.
Thanks very much for listening.
Willie Chain, 101 Howells Drive South. I come up here to share some data. One of the things that I want to talk about is what we've seen as a local business. First and foremost, fantastic job on the lights. I mean, I have a lot of pride in that. You know, I take it out of town and I gloat about it. That's what I do. I gloat about my city. And I think that I love actually having these points to make with people from outside of the county, outside of the city, just what St. Mary's is up to. And I really want to say that it really sets a positive mood downtown, and it competes with places like Jekyll Island. We can see very plainly just how gorgeous it ends up looking when you get something done professionally, and thank you very much. I want to talk about Alive After 5. So, in the infamous words of Sir Elton John, I'm still standing, right? Because I have a grip point for people to come downtown and walk into the doors and enjoy themselves as guests in our community. It gives me an opportunity to provide culture that serves the strategic vision of the city, to give individuals who are moving to this location something to do that is a place where they can meet. I've heard many a times from people, from guests, who are lonely, who are fresh to the area, who don't even know just how big the city is or isn't, how important spaces like ours, Sweet Luncheonette, has been for them to connect with the people in the community and find one another. I'm actually seeing a tremendous number of individuals who are not from here, that have just recently moved here, or who are building their homes here. People who don't even live here yet, coming down and spending time, i.e. also spending their resources in our town before they even move into the city. They're getting a house built, and they're telling me about how their house isn't even, a foundation yet, and they're coming by because they just absolutely love the environment, the atmosphere. I've got people coming by, and they're just vendors, and they come in and they say, why am I not living here? They're looking around, they're driving around looking for property. We've got how many permits pulled for the county as a whole? We've got a huge influx of people coming, and it drives me to this one point that I want to make. It was so important for St. Mary's to be involved, to grow. It took the city putting that stamp on an event and the involvement for the public. This is a public thing. It's not a group. It's not a not-for-profit group. It's not a church. It's St. Mary's putting a seal on an event for people, for the people. They don't have to spend money at my place. They don't have to spend money anywhere. They can come down and they can feel the connection of the community at large. There's food trucks, there's music, and it's for everybody. You don't have to have a certain bracket to be downtown. You don't have to make a certain income to enjoy it. It's for everybody. And that is super important when we're talking about fostering a culture, the kind of culture that we need strategically for the type of influx to keep these people in this area. Now, I really needed to come up here and let you know that, how important it has been for my city to support. And thank you, everybody here that has taken a chance, that has worked on any part of the funding, the maybe backdoor conversations and how important it can be or how much they can afford. It has helped our business. It has helped the people that have specifically said they need this and it can never go anywhere because it is a part of the culture and the habit that they want to foster. So keep looking for those ways to make the city a presence in the public and showing everybody that this is for not just one type of person, but everybody. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Nick Harris, 102 Hamlet Circle, St. Mary's. First and foremost, I want to just thank everybody because it was truly a collaborative effort to get some parking spots to open up in front of our store, all the way from the police department to the DDA to council members to the city manager, even to you, Mayor. We deeply appreciate it. You know what the saying is, a happy wife, a happy life. So now I can put this to bed. The only thing I would ask if it's appropriate is when could we see that? Because I know as soon as I get home, Mama Claus is going to say, okay, Elf, what did they say? Any information?
We may have some temporary signage until the ones come in that include the time frame, but we won't be able to enforce till the official signs get up.
Okay, thank you. And I deeply, deeply appreciate it. It's going to help. And I also want to augment what the last speaker said. I think Alive After 5 has just picked up an inordinate amount of support locally and really provided some connectivity that may have been missing for whatever reason. But Candace and her crew and everybody that supports that has done an incredible job. So we have to keep little things like that going, because that's all part of when you build revitalization for small town America. We don't need big things right away. It's alive after fives that kind of grow into the big things. And my last comment would be the trees are freaking unbelievable. And as I inquire, I don't know the total cost and the maintenance, but everybody that's just recently visited us over the holidays, it's the first thing we do. And I can tell you, if there's a means to keep that 365 days, we have to do it. Because when you see that first tree and you look all the way, it automatically, whether you're going for whatever reason, it forces you from once you cross the railroad tracks to drive all the way to the riverfront. Those trees alone will bring prosperity to the businesses from that point to that point. So it was well worth the money spent for any naysayers out there, and it's probably well worth some kind of maintenance agreement to keep it, because it's just an attraction that makes you go all the way to the riverfront. And Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Larry White, 102 Sylvia's Court. Again, let me just ditto what he just said. Merry Christmas to City Council, the mayor, all the workers at St. Mary's. The first thing I'd like to talk about is item C. I know you consented that. That's for the zone change for this property on Charlie Smith Highway from R1 to C2. I don't know if any of you all are aware, but that property in the past, even though it was zoned R1, has been used as a business. Okay? I don't know if you all knew that or not. So now, I don't know if they changed property owners or what it was. Now they're finally getting themselves zoned correctly. So previously, they've been breaking the covenants that the city has. Next item is item G. I agree with that wholeheartedly, getting the school cameras in those two elementary schools. But I would like to see something done for the Mary Lee Clark Elementary School. Even if the posted speed limit is not a school zone speed limit, the posted speed limit is 25 miles an hour on Mickler Drive, but they still don't do that. I can tell you that from personal experience. Another item not on the agenda, but I'll bring it up again, is previously you approved posting a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit on St. Mary's Road in the construction area. It's still going on, still 55 speed limit, but they don't do 55. Either that or you need to get it posted as soon as you can, or have more police officers posted there in St. Mary's Road. And I brought it up once before, I don't know if I just remembered it again. At the senior center, in the back entrance to the senior center where they have the ramp at, for going up into the senior center, there's a downspout right there that when it rains, it pours water out. We got all these people that are in walkers or in wheelchairs trying to go up the ramp to get in the senior center, or people that walk slowly like me. I always use the ramp. So one of these days after heavy rain, when the water's puddled up there in the entrance to the senior center, somebody's going to fall, and you're going to have another lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bert C's 816 Riverview Drive. I want to really, echo some of what these folks already said, but I want to end the year, because this is our last meeting, right, for the year. And I want to kind of put some kudos to, for someone who keeps you guys in line, which is Miss Deborah Walker-Reed. She keeps you guys in line. I mean, I come in meetings here, man, I mean, she's on top of things. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. You did a good job. I like the newcomer. She's not really new anymore, but she's been around. Look like I've been around with Miss Jamie Stein. I mean, she's always here. You know what I mean? Pushing the agenda to get, especially with the building stuff. I want to see that, continue on. And I know a new one, Mr. Charlie Williams here, doing all right. Like that, man. I hate to see Miss Adamo. I guess she's leaving, man. Or Miss Adamo, you retired from Oh, man, I'm gonna miss you. Because when I first met her, I didn't realize it was 3 years ago, but I call them tree huggers, and but we need them. I always say we need this type, it's beautiful coming down here. It looks good, and I appreciate that. And again, all you guys, you're doing your bit. I'm not here to kick you to the curb. Have a safe holiday season here. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christine Adamo, 901 Ann Street. I just want a big thank you to St. Mary's Police Department for their incredible work on Dilworth Street. You have no idea. Those guys were nabbing them left and right, and those trucks with those big mufflers going, and it was just heaven to just see them picking them off. And there's a little residual effect that's happened too, officers, because today, things I noticed, people were going slower, sooner, before they hit the ramp there. There's an opportunity where people really gear up and do a big, heavy run before they hit those railroad tracks. So I understand from the chief that he needs 5 more people on his staff in order to continue the speed patrol in the city. So I'm putting y'all on high alert because he's going to be coming in with a price tag for that, and y'all better just be ready because we loved seeing them on the street rendering those tickets. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
Good evening, Stephanie Chain, 101 Hollis Drive South. I'm going to start my timer to make sure that I'm in line with everything. Okay. So I just wanted to get up and say thank you guys for everything that you have done. And again, I'll second what my husband said. The trees are phenomenal. I think I was talking to him about it so much at home that he, that I got in his head and he got up here and said it before I did. But thank you guys so much for that. It looks beautiful. It's such a pleasure to ride down here to my shop and look at that, or ride home late at night to look at that in and out of downtown St. Mary's. Whose ever idea it was, I mean, it's impeccable. I can stare at it for forever. But what else? The Alive After 5, it has done so much for my business. There are other business owners in other towns who have similar business models as I do, that we're not open every day, just based on lifestyle and other things that they have going on in their towns. Like up in Brunswick, they do their First Fridays. And we kind of bounce notes and stuff back and forth off of each other. And I think that what we're doing is going in the right direction. My only ask is I hope that it doesn't stop. I think the consistency of it is going to create momentum. There will be ebbs and flows. Some months might not be as good as others, just like December. it rained, but we still had a decent turnout, I think, for what had happened, and I can't be mad at it. So I would really hope that keeping it going and being consistent with it, I hope that it continues, and I hope that would be something that, everybody would consider versus, I know January is pretty slow for everybody. It's right after the holidays. I totally get it. My daughter's birthday is 2 weeks after Christmas, so yeah, more presents to buy and stuff like that. I get it. But, past that, hopefully it will be something that will continue to push out and let people know about, because it seems like some people are still finding out about it and they're more curious, and it's just more opportunity for people to know about St. Mary's and what we can do. And for the shops like mine too, that might not be as accessible all the time, but they know that we're here. And yeah, so I think it's great. Thank you guys so much. I know I'm not here very often. My head is pretty much into work, so all the stuff that he's saying, I don't get to hear, my clientele and my customer base say, because my head is down. I'm back in the kitchen putting out food. So I have no idea. So every